February 4th, 2016, 8 p.m. in Dhaka, Bangladesh. A printer on the ninth floor of the Bangladesh Bank headquarters begins spitting out paper. 56 pages in total. Each page carries a single number, a request to move money from the bank's account at the Federal Reserve Bank of New York. The numbers are huge, millions of dollars per page. The printer sits unattended for hours because the overnight shift has been cut. Budget reasons. This is how the Bangladesh Bank is the central bank of one of the world's poorest nations. It holds accounts at the Federal Reserve in New York. By 2016, global banking had become a system of digital handshakes. SWIFT, the Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunication. Every legitimate transfer runs through its pipes, and every hacker knows it. Somewhere inside a building in Manila, a group of attackers had spent months preparing. They weren't climbing through windows. They weren't waving guns. They were inside the Bangladesh Bank's network, watching, learning, waiting for the right moment to send their own handshake. The printer on the ninth floor kept running. 35 transfer requests in total. The attackers wanted nearly $1 billion. They had learned the bank's internal codes. They knew when the night shift ended. They knew the Fed would process any properly formatted SWIFT message without asking too many questions. Trust was the system's weakness. The first 5 requests sailed through. $20 million to a Sri Lankan nonprofit. 20 million more. 50 million. 80 million. The Fed's systems didn't blink. By 9 p.m., $81 million had been authorized and sent to accounts in the Philippines. The attackers were already moving the money, but then a typo. Request number 6. The attackers had written Shalika Foundation as the recipient. 1 letter off. A bank in Colombo saw the name mismatch and flagged it. The Fed stopped the transfer, and then they stopped all remaining 30 requests. 81 million had escaped. 850 million had not. But the 81 million was already gone. Gone into the Philippine banking system. Gone into casinos. Gone into junket operators who didn't ask where the money came from. The attackers had chosen Manila for a reason. Philippine casinos operate outside normal anti-money laundering rules. A gambling chip is not a bank account. You cannot freeze a roulette table. The heist should have been impossible. The attackers had used malware to hide their actions. They had deleted log files. They had covered their tracks inside the bank's servers. But they made one more mistake. They forgot to check the printer. The printer on the ninth floor kept a record of every transfer. 56 pages. The bank's staff found them the next morning. Someone had turned the printer off during the attack. But the print queue remembered. The bank called the Fed. The Fed called the FBI. And the hunt began. Investigators traced the attack to a computer in the Philippines. The same computer had been used to send phishing emails to Bangladesh Bank employees months earlier. One employee opened a malicious attachment. That was the door. The attackers walked through it and spent months mapping the building. SWIFT knew about the breach days later. The network had seen the fake messages. But SWIFT did not tell its member banks for weeks. The Bangladesh Bank did not have its own firewalls configured properly. The Fed did not question the first 5 transfers. 3 separate systems failed at the same time. That is not a coincidence. That is architecture. The money moved from Philippine banks to 2 casino intermediaries. A man named Kim Wong received millions. A woman named Wai Kang Shu received millions. Both claimed they thought the money was legitimate gambling proceeds. Both returned some of the funds after investigators arrived. Most of the money never came back. By March 2016, Philippine authorities had frozen a portion of the funds, about $15 million. The remaining $66 million had been converted to casino chips, gambled, lost, or laundered through a web of shell companies. The trail went cold in the Macau junket circuit. The attackers vanished. The FBI eventually named a man from Sri Lanka as a suspect, a former hacker turned cybercriminal, but he died in 2017 before any arrest. North Korean state hackers have been linked to the heist by private security firms. The Lazarus Group, the same actors behind the Sony Pictures hack and the WannaCry ransomware attack. But the North Korean government denies involvement. The Bangladesh bank governor resigned in disgrace. The country's central bank had lost $81 million, money that belonged to the people of Bangladesh, money that paid for imports, infrastructure, emergency reserves, gone into slot machines in Manila. SWIFT implemented new security protocols after the heist, mandatory two-factor authentication, better log monitoring, but the system remains the same. A network built on trust between banks. Trust that a message from one member is real. Trust that the codes are safe. Trust that the printer will be watched. A month after the heist, a security researcher scanned the internet for other banks with the same vulnerabilities. He found dozens. He found banks in Eastern Europe, South America, and Africa still using default passwords on their SWIFT terminals. He found banks that had not installed a single security update in years. He found the same open door the Bangladesh attackers walked through. The Bangladesh bank heist is not over. The Philippine government never charged anyone for the money laundering. The $81 million remains unrecovered, except for the $15 million frozen. The attackers are still out there. Or the Lazarus group is still operating. Or the money is sitting in a North Korean cryptocurrency wallet, funding weapons programs the world cannot stop.